The Prime Minister says the timing of the next general election will be a very difficult decision, but he says holding it during the COVID-19 outbreak can be done.
The big question on everyone's minds is when will the general election be held and whether it's possible to conduct an election in the current climate. Mr. Lee said that it's a difficult decision to make.
We are going into a very big storm, and you want to have the strongest team and the strongest mandate and the longest runway in order that Singapore can have the best leadership to see it through this storm. And that's a very desirable and in fact essential requirement for us to see through this together. If we were sure that the things would settle within the next 6 months, I think we can say, well, let's wait for 6 months, let things calm down, then we carry on. But nobody can say it may well get worse before I expect it can easily get worse before it gets better.
Mr. Lee also cited countries such as Israel where elections were held recently. Even with safe distancing measures, he says life still goes on. Mr. Lee adds that these are solvable problems and he will not rule out any possibility once all requirements for the general election are cleared. In response to a question on whether Singapore's fourth-generation leadership is coping well with the crisis, this was what he had to say.
I think people have seen them, they have watched them respond, they've watched them answer questions, deal with emergency situations, shortage of runs on food, runs on toilet rolls, big outbreaks, bad news. And I think that they have gained experience and confidence, and I believe that also they have gained in trust and rapport with the people.
Mr. Lee added that it's a formative experience for the Singapore population and its leaders. He said the first generation of the country's leaders were born in a crucible of fire at the time of independence and separation from Malaysia. The Merdeka generation then worked hard and experienced stable times in Singapore. But he warned of grave consequences if the country's leaders become complacent.
And we regularly tell people Singapore is fragile, what we have achieved is precious, you have to continue to work hard, it can disappear in a moment if you take your eye off the ball. But people listen to us, but in the back of their mind they do wonder, is it true or not? After all, the show has gone on for so many years, and maybe you can go on autopilot. So this shows everybody that it's quite serious, it's absolutely existential, life and death. It's not masak-masak. And I think if you come through this, you have more than one generation settled, knowing what Singapore is about.